Hey guys, Zer013 here. I hope you're all well. So I decided to just make a quick video on all the weapons that I use in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. It's a mixture between preference, but also, what I look for, how I prepare for a mission, be it just a standard assault, factory clearing, or the more difficult ones, such as the elite faction missions or infiltrating a wolf camp, either in Oro itself or in Golem Island. So if I got a weapon change. Okay, so the first one that you'll see here is the Mark 18. This is obviously, as you most know, is the newest edition that has come with the last Breakpoint update, Team Experience 4.0. The weapon was originally available on Wildlands, and I think they just decided to bring it in out of probably high demand. Okay, so I'm not going to start with the Mark 18 first. I'm going to go, let's say, in alphabetical order. I'm not going to do every single weapon that I have in my stock, let's say. These are all just blueprints that I've either found or bought. But I will speak about the ones that I use a lot. And I'm going to start with this one, the 4AC. Now, the 4AC is one of my favorite weapons because it's just really good as far as effectiveness is concerned. It's my first choice when I go to elite missions in the faction missions, or when I have to again go into let's say high risk areas such as wolf bases or bases in Golem Island, which, well, 90% of them have wolves in them anyway. So yeah. Alright, what you see here is not my usual setup actually. This is something that I altered in one of my last missions, but it's more or less what I aim for. The paint color scheme that I go for this weapon is usually just black. But sometimes what I do is, and this I do for most weapons as well, is I choose the khaki or tan. In fact, I'm going to choose tan in this case. But I'm not going to go for a monochromatic look. I never do that with my weapons. I sort of alter it. And this, the alteration that I do, I don't just do out of personal preference. I actually do it according to pictures and videos that I've seen on YouTube, be it on other games or videos of soldiers in Afghanistan or Iraq or other places that have had conflict that have involved US forces. Anyway, so what I do is I choose my main color preset as tan, but then I start altering a bit. I change the magazine, for instance, to black. Then I change the muzzle to a dark brown. I don't go for black. I like it. I just give it a more slightly darker brown color. The rail, black or sometimes gray, depending. This time I'm gonna put it as gray. Sort of gives it a more sort of a new experimental sort of laser scope that has been released for the US Army to use. The scope, it would depend on the scope. Now the scope, actually, the number one scope that I choose is not this one. It's actually the hybrid EXP3 with the G33 sight. So close range with a toggle-able magnifier for extra range. So yeah, that I can either have as black, or I can go for a more tan look, like that. The stock, depending on the stock, or number one choice for stock is normally the SOCOM 1 or the mini CQB. I'm going to go for the mini CQB on this, and that I stick to black. Okay, and finally the Underbarrel, which is normally the foregrip. This foregrip that I use, I go for a black look. So you see, it's more a varied color thing look that I give it here. With the main body one color and the different parts other colors. to signify that it's a weapon that has been used, so it's had the different colors attachments added to it. Another method that I do though is I turn it all black, like that, and then I start playing with the parts again, but I give them different colors. So let's say I'll give this a khaki look, this I'll give it a brown look, and the rail I can give it either a brown or a khaki. I think I'll just go for brown, or maybe I'll just leave it at grey. Scope, khaki, let's see, stock I can leave it, that I'll go for brown. So you see it's sort of a reversed coloring scheme. To be honest, this is more what I aim for mostly. I like it more. I've seen it more in real US soldiers when their weapons with most of their attachments tend to be different color to the original gun, in the sense that the weapon, the rifle, is black and everything else is different colors. So yeah, actually most of the time I'm just going to put the rail here as brown. So yeah, this is what I aim for as well. This is mostly the look that I give my 4AC and most of the weapons as well. If I go back to the actual components, I never put a short barrel on the 4AC. I don't see the point. The barrel is short enough, so I just leave it at that. Magazine, I always have standard. You'll find that I have standard magazines for just almost all my weapons. I never use the extended. I don't see the point. I do a lot of reloading anyway, as you guys know from my previous videos. Standard suppressor, I don't use any of the other muzzle attachments, because then you can't use a suppressor unless I go for a proper firefight. The rail, most of the time I tend to use the MAL DA, but I do from time to time use the PEG 15. I just like the way that it's on the top rail with the hollow hybrid look, which can go, I think, also with the M4 sight. But for most other things, I think it doesn't. Maybe this, yeah, that it does as well. But I don't really use that hollow sight much. With the panoramic, with the highest range, the TA3 1H sight, it does, and it puts it on the side, which is fine. But it's not what I aim for. So I mostly stick to the hybrid one, like that. So yeah, this is the 4AC again. The 4AC, I use it mostly for missions, either elite, faction missions, or if I have to go into a wolf base or a high risk base. Anyway, foregrip, most of the time I tend to use this one for this weapon, although lately I do like the angled foregrip on that as well. I find that if you put foregrips on my teammates that don't use it, they just put their hand on the barrel, not on just on underneath. So I just tend to use this for my teammates mostly as well. Okay, now next weapon I'm going to talk about that I use is the 416 shorty. I don't actually use this weapon much. I've used it in a previous, well, I think it's going to be soon to be released video. I use it, but it's not a general weapon that I like to use. I don't find it any different than the Mark 18 or the 516, to be honest, as far as accuracy and efficiency is concerned. But I do use the 416 a lot, which is the next weapon I'm going to talk about. For the moment, the 416, I have it as set up to look for a snow missions. So it's what I use with my visual. I have that as visual palette 3. So this one here. It's one of my favorite weapons. I really like the 416. I have it set up pretty much the same as the 4AC, but I have the SOCOM 1 stock, and that's it. Everything else is pretty much the same. Most of it is white, apart from on the magazine, the foregrip, the rail, so the laser pointer, and a bit of the barrel is black, but the rest is all white in color. 416, I use it for snow missions mostly. I really like this weapon. Sometimes I use it for other areas as well, scenarios, let's say, because I think it's got one of the best sounds as far as the rifles are concerned. The Mark 18 is probably the best sniper because it's the latest edition, but this one, I love the way it sounds. It shoots really nicely, and it's a really good weapon. Sometimes more effective than the 4AC, I find. All right, the assault specials are weapons that I don't usually use. I don't particularly like. I'm not a fan of them unless I'm just trying to changing up just to so I don't get bored of the weapons that I normally use. 516 before teammate update I was using religiously. I think this is also Nomad's signature weapon in these pictures and videos. But lately I've been neglecting this weapon, I'll be honest. It's a pity because it's really nice weapon, although albeit looks a lot like the Mark 18, especially the way I set it up. It's just really cool. It's not the most effective weapon. There's a lot of times I find that this rifle I have to apply 3-4 shots before I get a kill, but it looks really cool. It's really cool. It's basically like the 416, but with the sort of more modern looking mag with that little grip thing underneath. I have it set it up on a sort of jungle forest assault, and in this case I had it on the RBG vertical grip, although again most of the time I use this one. When I usually use it, I have it on the standard barrel, not the short barrel, and this is the biggest difference between this one and the Mark 18, apart from the stock of course, is that it has the possibility of having a long barrel. It's a good weapon. Long barrel is even better, but it's not something that I use a lot lately, which is a bit of a shame. I might end up using it again soon, we'll see. Right, let's see, next one, 516 is done. Let's have a look at the next one. The AK-47, I have used it in some videos, but it's not my #1 choice for the moment. It's good fun, I won't lie to you. It's a good weapon to use in open combat, and freaking effective. Like you get good kills with it, but not my #1 choice. Augs, no. Bullpup is not a weapon that I usually use, but I have used it when I do sort of Splinter Cell missions or missions where I do sort of scuba diving from time to time. It's a really good weapon, this. Really more effective than I thought it would be. I have it set up in a really sort of futuristic look, so the MH1 side, but I do use the digital, the holographic one as well, or the micro T1. But yeah, good weapon. I enjoy this. I leave it on black because I normally again I use it for either Splinter Cell missions or scuba diving missions, and whatnot. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. Honey Badger is probably this is one of the reasons actually why I'm not using the 516 anymore, because I've been using the Honey Badger more lately. I didn't like this weapon at first, I won't lie. Part of it was because of the way it sounded. I thought it sounded. I think it still sounds horrible. Unless that's the original sound, then fair enough. But I just didn't like it. But also because it's really small. But when I started using it in missions, I found it to be quite effective against the enemy, including wolves. So yeah, it's a good weapon. I like it. I haven't changed much on it. The stock is extended, obviously, because I don't like standard. I don't particularly like that. Also, I think you lose. What is it? Recoil, horizontal recoil. Okay. I have it on the scope. Sadly, you don't have the hybrid one for this. Sometimes I have it on the panoramic, but not always. Oh, the digital. Digital actually is not bad, to be honest. Digital, it can be really effective if I'm doing missions where I require to kill a lot of snipers and I have this weapon. This is a really good setup the way I have it now. But yeah, pretty much that's it. The RBG vertical foregrip, it's not the best foregrip, but I found it to be good enough. Otherwise, I use this one as well. Yeah, so this is mostly the setup that I have it on. Here in this case, I could even have it as a black scope. It's not really important how it looks, but good weapons. I recommend it. I never liked it, but I found that in the end it was more effective than I thought it would be. Okay, next one in the list. Let's have a look. Let's see which one is next on the list. Shotguns, I use them from time to time, but not a lot. M4A1. Now, this is still one of my personal favorites. Need I say more? It's the M4. You know, it's the original. Still a classic. Still a great weapon. Most of the time, I have this one as well. I have it on the Comp 4 M4 with the M4 stock. You lose some sort of additions. It's faster aiming and I think faster aiming if I just have the M4 stock. But I just love this original look. It's one of the best. Standard barrel as well. It looks like this. It looks really cool, like a Ranger basically, or just a standard US soldier. Classics, one of the best. I use this rifle as well when I do scuba diving missions. I think it looks really cool, and I like to keep it at more of the M4 standard. Short barrel look, the Colt, let's say, look, than the long standard one. Okay, let's have a look. All right, so we're down to M4. Again, the tactical, the CQCs, the assaults, not a very big fan. I've got the survival one. It's a good weapon, but again, I'm not a fan. MDR, now the MDR, in the beginning when it came out, I was using it quite a bit. Also for, as you can see, snow missions, and so it bodes well with my attire, which I forgot to change. Lately though, so one thing about this weapon is it's really good when you're going loud. So when you remove the suppressor, I found it extremely effective. One shot, one kill. Obviously, if you're aiming for the head, but with this foregrip and even with the PEC 15 and the sight, or if you have the hybrid one, whichever you prefer. It's really, really effective. But however, I'd like to highlight that there is a bug. So if you look here carefully, you can see it's clipping over there. For some reason, the scope moves forward. If you go onto the setup, there's a gap. But if you look carefully here, and I've noticed it as well, see if I can do that, you can see it more. I notice it more. There is clipping going on there. And this happens even with the maul. So there, the maul looks fine. Go here, you can see it's sort of touching. I mean, there you could probably more get away with it, but it's sort of touching. I hope Ubisoft are aware of this and they fix it soon. But I think it's another reason why I just stuck with the digital side with this. But lately I haven't been using this weapon. I think mostly because I've gone to the 416 as far as snow missions are concerned. So I haven't found a suitable motive to find it. Mark 14. Mark 14 is, I love this weapon. I really do. It's so good. It really is a good blend between sniping and assault. This mission, if you're going to go on dangerous missions that have highly trained targets like wolves, or where there's drones involved, elite faction missions, you can't go wrong with this. It's a really good weapon. It's really effective, even with the single trigger. One shot, one kills on far distance. There's a mission I will be posting maybe sometime next week. I'm finalizing at the moment, where I've used this, and it was both effective long and short range. It's a proper marksman. It's a really good rifle. I know there's an assault variant of it as well. I don't do the raid. Well, I'm not sure what they call the missions in Golem Island, basically, where you ride, you're supposed to use gear levels. I don't do those, so I don't have it, but it's fine. I'm happy with this one. I have it on a short barrel with a standard magazine, suppressor, maul. Sometimes I use the rangefinder, depends what I'm after, but most of the time it's just the maul. The sights I vary with this. It can be the digital one, which works perfectly. If I'm going for more an assault mission, it can be the sorry, what am I doing here? I'm getting confused. Actually, first thing what I do is change that back to him, so it doesn't look too weird. So what am I doing here? I'm getting confused. The sight can be the digital. It can be the dual range as well. So there. Although that, I think, does it touch? Does it clip? Can't really tell if it clips or not. Or maybe I could get away with it, or I just put the rangefinder on that in that case, because then I increase more range. That is also very good and effective. Or I use this one, which is actually a sight that I hardly ever use except on this weapon, and yeah, I used it like this last time as well. The look I go for is a khaki, excuse me, which I think is the original color of the weapon anyway. But as you notice, most of the parts, the extra parts, apart from the scope in this case, and the stock are black or brown, and the barrel is black. I like to have the barrel black. I don't know why, for some reason. It just gives it a more that imperfect, realistic look to it. Okay, highly recommended weapon anyway. Really, really good. So Mark 14, Mark 17. The only Mark 17s that I use is the Shorty. A good weapon, really good weapon to use mid-range. I have even taken out some targets on a semi-long range with this, especially with the scope. But sometimes I find it's difficult to control its recoil. And I think, although I'm not sure, I haven't played with the triggers. The triggers I have are, yeah, keep it on single, keep it on a single and an auto trigger, because the recoil on this can be a little bit mental. Painting scheme, until recently I had the stock as a black, so it looks like it's an extra added thing. Sometimes I've changed the stock to this one, so to give it the more slightly more original Mark 17 look. In fact, I'm going to keep it at that one. But yeah, although it does seem sort of, how can I put it, heavy. Looks, doesn't look like it's a light weapon to handle. Okay, so the Shorty is done. Let's go on the next one, which is, of course, the Mark 18. So the Mark 18, I've been playing around a lot with this one, but I think this is the look that I'm finally happy with. It's a little different from the rest. It's a slightly more desert look. So I've got a khaki paint color, standard paint color scheme, but the magazine, the foregrip are brown, and the stock at the back is black, which is the mini CQB, which is one, as you may have noticed from my previous videos, is one of my favorites. Giving it a dirty look, so it looks used, but good weapon, really effective weapon, good rifle. I don't need to say more than I already have. I'm sure there's a lot of videos out there on YouTube that speak of the weapon and test it, compare it to others. A little bit more effective than the 516, even though they pretty much almost look the same. Again, it's just the way, that's also the way I set them up. Okay. All right, finally, let's talk about a personal, this weapon here, which is the only real sniper weapon that I'm using at the moment, which is this also came with the update. I use it for all schemes. I'm going to just turn it to black for now. But I use it for all schemes, be it color schemes, be it snow, jungle, desert, and whatnot. Green, yeah. So really good rifle, really good sniper rifle. Lately I've been using the scope here, which is the T5X1. It's got a good aiming thing to it. I don't see the point of using a dual scope because after all it is for me a proper sniper rifle. Rangefinder, a lot of people are fan of this, but I do like it. I do find it increases range effectively against long range targets, especially if I have to kill wolves, sniper wolves, which are pretty much they can see through walls. I do have a short barrel, don't have it on a standard barrel, so I compensate with the loss of the barrel with the rangefinder, so it's pretty much the same effectiveness. I have a bipod, and that's it, and a suppressor, of course. I use almost any color for this. If I'm going to paint it, obviously I use the same method as if I'm going to paint it for, say, a jungle mission. By the way, the only jungle color that I use is the olive brown. I really do not like the rest of them. None of them. This is the only one I like. I don't change much here. Just the magazine becomes black, and maybe I change the barrel to black, but that's as far as it goes. The rest I leave it like that, so it has a more camouflagey look. And okay, and that's that. All right, I think I spoke about all the rifles. Quickly go through the pistols. So the P45, I'll speak about this first. P45, I use it for missions. Again, that involves urban missions that are around the farmland areas of Aurora, so east, center east. This I blend a lot with the Mark 18, actually. I like to use the Mark 18 with the P45. It's actually, I think if I had to choose, it would be my number one choice as a pistol. I find it to be more effective, save for the USP tactical, which is probably the best pistol in the game. Actually, I find this is my number one choice when I'm playing Splinter Cell, when I'm doing missions where I only use pistol. Really good pistol, USP tactical. But my setup for all my pistols are exactly the same. Standard magazine, suppressor HDG, and the ATPL, ATPIAL, or ATPL, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, X3 or times 3, which is basically the sort of, it has that sort of predator laser thing to it. I'm not a very big fan of it. I'd rather have the standard laser, but it's more effective. It adds more. You get more aiming time, more aiming percentage, less shot spread, and less horizontal recoil. So I think that's just a better addition, better attachment. Sorry. Yeah. I like to have the scope gray. Not sure why. I think I've seen a lot of pictures where it is gray, so I'll just keep it at that. Yeah. Then let's see what other pistol do I use. F40, as well as the so the F40 as well as the PX4. I use it for snow missions. PX4 more than the F40. This is a good pistol, but I've decided just to keep it for for snow missions. And yeah, the P227, which again I also use it for more urban missions and whatnot. For my jungle missions, I have the Glock, semi-Glock lookalike CSFP, which in this case I forgot to change its attachment. It's closest thing you'll get to a Glock, even though it's not really 100% one. And that's it. Alright, that's it, folks. That's pretty much everything I have to do with weapons. If you have any questions, if there's anything that I've missed out, anything else you want me to talk about, please leave it on the comments below. And thanks for watching, and stay safe.